Now we're back to the carburetor, the big 32 millimeter can that I'm going to put on the little Dio. A lot of my friends and people out there they're afraid of carburetors. They don't want to look at them, don't want to take them apart. But we learn by doing. We don't learn by watching videos. And this is the same way I learned. I'm not firmly trained in any part of motorcycle mechanics. I just took things apart and looked at them. And when my first motor started that I built, I felt like I'd really accomplished something. So in order to understand how the carburetor works, it's a metering device, and I'm going to use this really cool mother of pearl pin I got from my grandmother as a pointer. You take the 4 bolts or screws off of the bottom. This is called the float bowl cover. These are the float bowls right here. After you take the 4 screws off here and take the bowl off, sometimes the bowls are hard to come off because they have a this vent line that sticks up right here, so it's hard to get them on or off, but generally they're pretty easy. Once you take it off, on the bottom you'll find the main jet, which is right here. It's made out of copper, and all of these main jets screw in. You have to be very careful with them. And then you also have a pilot jet, or an idle jet, which is right in here. Generally you don't mess with that. It only concerns with idle first 5% of your acceleration. So you take a little wrench, like this one, or you can take a socket and put it on your little jet, and you unscrew it, and then we're going to look at it. This is a good thing to do if you have a new carburetor and you're putting it on and it doesn't quite work right, which it won't work right. If it works right, there's something wrong. You'll have to adjust it and play with it. This is the main jet right here. They are all numbered, and I'm going to see if I can get this to work correctly. I want to see if I can get the number on here without any glare or anything else, and see how this camera works in 4 whatever it is. This jet is numbered 165, plus it has the KN little star on it, which means it's a KN jet. Alright, this has a number on it. The jets you can buy for this carburetor, you can buy them anywhere. They're like $5 a piece. One thing you can do is you can go to a Honda shop or any bike shop. They have a plastic thing in the back full of jets, and you can tell them I want a larger jet or smaller, and you can buy them from them. The little main jet is numbered. If we're getting technical, the little tiny I wish I don't, maybe I can get this flashlight to work here. I want to show you what you're going to look at, and don't be afraid to, oh come on, work. Piece of crap. Sorry. The little brass pilot jet is in here, and to take it out you need a real small screwdriver, which I don't have. So we need a little socket to take off the main jet, and a little screwdriver to take out the other one. You want to be real careful with these because they're made out of brass. They're made out of brass because it's real easy for the makers to drill holes in them, and the holes are precise as far as how much fuel can be metered from them. So we put this back in. Oops, I'm trying to do this and keep my camera centered. And I have to keep the camera very, very slow, or else it jerks too much. Okay, so that's the bottom of the carburetor. Now onto the slide. After you unscrew the top right here, you're going to see a spring right there. This is a carb slide right here. These carb slides are also, I'm sorry, I'm just getting used to this camera, so I'm trying to keep everything in focus. These are also numbered, but I can't find the number on this one. You can get them with, they have cutouts down in here, and they have different little things. It makes the fuel flow differently, but it's all for adjusting. And most people don't ever go in and adjust anything that much. But with these little engines that we have over here, that's the whole point of the game, is to adjust everything to get the most horsepower. That's the fun of what we're doing. If all of us were concerned about horsepower, we would take a loan out for $12,000 and we'd buy one of these. $600. But no, the rest of the world has these little bikes. And I'm practicing with this camera. I'm being very, very slow because I don't want it jerking around. Okay, back to this. When you take the cap off, it can be either screwed on, which is not normal, or it can be a couple of little bolts on it. You have the slide here. You can see the hole in it, right? Then you have the needle jet. Okay, the needle jet, these are another thing that you can buy. The needle jet is segmented in 3 parts. And if you look very closely, you can see it on the one that you have. 3 parts, I mean, it's tapered up to here, right here. It's tapered up to here. And these tapers, what they do when they go into this sets in the jet like this, and it slowly comes out as you raise your throttle. Okay, the more that you raise it up, the more fuel comes out. And I want to see if I can there it is, right there. These jets are also numbered. These needle jets, that's what I call it, are also numbered. And I can't see too well in the mold. But right at the top there, they have a really small number right here. And if you look very closely, you'll see that number. You can order different sizes of these. They can be thicker, thinner. They affect the carburetor very, very minutely, but they can help you fine-tune your riding style. When you take out a needle jet, what you'll find is they have 5 different slots on the top with something called a C-clip. The C-clip is always in the middle slot. Okay? I'm trying to see if I can get this to work better. What the C-clip does is the C-clip, let me see if I can pull this over here. It sits in the slide like this. Come on. I'm still trying to, I have to tell a story, I have to show a story, and I have to do a commentary at the same time, and only do it once, so I'm trying to get this to go in. Let's see, there we go. You can see the C-clip right there. It's on the middle slot. That's one thing you want to note. And I'll show you what it does. Your fuel comes out of your main jet. Okay. The needle valve determines how much fuel comes out and atomizes and goes into your engine right here. If you raise or lower this C-clip, you can either get more fuel at the beginning or less fuel at the end. It's just one more adjustment. So we know that we have a 165 main jet, and we have, this is set on the middle, the C-clip is set on the middle setting. Now as it sits in here, a bunch of rich people out here, this town is full of rich people. They're very, very noisy jets. There he is. They fly in and out of this little burg because they have wineries here, and it's like their wine, I guess. All right. Anyway, back to the carburetor. The needle jet falls into the carb slide right here. There's a couple of ways that they are held in. A lot of times they're held in with a little piece of plastic on a spring. This one has a screw-in deal that holds it, and you can see there's a little tiny gap here in this screw-in deal, and that holds the little tiny lead end of the throttle cable. So what I'd like you to do out there, if you're a young person or someone that's never dealt with carburetors, is to take them apart and look at them. You can't hurt them. A lot of times when this is a common problem, and you may have gone through this. A lot of times you will leave, okay, a lot of fuel, that's a vent tube right there. A lot of fuel will sitting here over the winter, or for a very long time before you ride the bike. Okay, it turns into something that looks like pancake syrup. Okay, and you can see this very small well in the very bottom. Well, that's where the main jet sits. Okay, this right here. This is I'll tell you the symptoms of it. All right. What you'll do is you'll fire up your bike. Okay, and the bike will run fine. It'll idle. But the minute you give it gas, okay, it quits. It won't do anymore. What you have is the idle jet in here is clear. This little tiny one in here, so your bike can idle. Your main jet, which has been sitting in the bottom of your this thing, whatever it is. What's happened is that the dried gas has turned into kind of a goo, and it has, whoops, damn it. Oh, sorry, YouTube. YouTube has so many rules now. I'm trying to be really good about The fuel has gotten into this little well right here, and it has turned into a goo, and it's taken the main jet, and it's like glue. It's stoppered this main jet up. So if you ever have a problem like that, you take the carburetor apart, follow this little video, okay? And the way I do it is I will take the little jet out if I think that that is the problem, okay? And I will take this little jet and I will either go out to some sunlight, or I will aim it into a light. Let's see if I can do that. Where'd it go? I can't see. Oh, it's right here. I'm sorry. Now you see where it's clear like that? This is what I do with all my jets. So I know this jet is clear, but if you take your jet out and do exactly what I'm doing right now, and you can't see anything, it's all black, that means that it's clogged, and you need to unclog it. Come on. What are you doing, cat? That's my old cat. It's kind of like a wife. So then you take the jet back over here, and you take a very small, like a wire brush or something that you cannot hurt the soft brass metal. Okay, you do not want to damage the diameter of the. Come on, that's what sucks about getting old. Everything just doesn't start to work that good. So use a soft brush, or you use like some kind of wire, and you clean that out really well without damaging the any of the jet. Then we take, after you've got it cleaned up, you take I believe this is 6mm. See, what is that? Yeah, it is. Let's see, 6mm. Generally, they're all about the same size. So we take the jet, we put it back in, we give it just a tiny bit of pressure just to hold it in, okay? And then you're done. And then all we do is we take the 4 bolts right here, we put the SudCo thing back on. It only goes on one way, like this. This is the hard part on some of them. This vent valve is, you have to do it with 2 hands, but the way to do it is to raise your float bowls a little bit so that you create a little space right here to put it back in. And it will go back in. If it came off, it'll go back in. Oh, come on. Anyway, that goes back in. You put your needle valve back in. You put your spring back in, and you're done. And you just learned something new about the carburetor. Carburetors that sit for a long time have a tendency for the main jet to get clogged. So that's just the tip of the day. And now we're back onto putting the big TAIDA valve in. The next thing I have to do is to put this part onto the engine. I'm going to do that this morning. And one thing there can be no leaks. Okay. That's going to go on just like this. Like that. And I'm kind of worried that it's going to, I don't know how the carburetor is going to sit. I don't know how this or that's going to work. But that's the next thing. Okay. Thank you.